Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you primarily about Rafah today. So we've been having all of this talk about Rafah and Israel invading Rafah, expanding this genocide to Rafah, this barbarism for the past few weeks now. Firstly, to give you a bit of a background, Israel, throughout every single stage of this genocidal, barbaric war in Gaza against the civilians, they always had a target. Firstly, it was Al Shifa Hospital. Remember that very well. They targeted a hospital. To them, they've been banging on for 15 years that Al Shifa Hospital is a base for Hamas, and under Al Shifa Hospital, there's a central command system for Hamas. They've been saying that ever since the 2009 war with Gaza. They didn't commit any action against Al Shifa at the level that they did during this genocide, but they did this time, and they went in, and we saw exactly what happened in Al Shifa Hospital. They went in there, they found nothing, they started planting evidence, they kidnapped the hospital manager, they tried to force him to claim that Hamas used the hospital as a base. He refused. He was tortured. He was beaten. And he refused to say that Hamas used it as a base. Then, after they failed and after everyone found out their massive lies when it comes to Al Shifa Hospital, they started talking about Khan Yunis. Then they went to Khan Yunis. They went in Khan Yunis, committed massacres, tried to beat the resistance. They can't. They're still being beaten today by the Palestinian resistance. Clearly, no victory sign. Now they started talking about Rafah. And I want to put everything into context here. Israel's main aim of attacking Rafah is to supposedly take down the 4 remaining battalions or brigades of Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu said they already demolished 20 of them. The defense minister, he says that 18 were demolished out of 24. And Netanyahu himself once even said that they dismantled all of the brigades, contradicting statements that clearly highlight the level of lies that Israel is trying to sell to the people. And I want to highlight here as well, when the Israeli army were talking about dismantling Hamas, to them the definition, and they stated that several times, is to make the brigade non-functional as a structural organization rather than taking everyone out from that brigade. This, to them, means dismantling a Hamas brigade. So to them, if a few people are still fighting, if the majority of the brigade is still active, but not in the same managed way that they were previously, to them that's dismantled. Imagine the level of stupidity when it comes to this description of dismantling. Now they're talking about Rafah, they're remaining there. Firstly, how can you claim that you beat all of Hamas when they're still attacking you all across, and now you want to go and attack Rafah? That's number one. Number two, do you expect Rafah to be any different? You might have even a far more fierce resistance from Rafah. The main thing, however, that I want to talk about, just wanted to give you this background quickly, is the fact that Israel is changing its tone slightly. So previously, Benjamin Netanyahu used to say, we are going on a campaign against Rafah. When he used to be criticized and asked about, look, what does Egypt think about it? Egypt has sensitivities when it comes to this. He used to say, we have our interests, they have their own interests. We're going to have an attack in Rafah. In one of his press conferences a few days ago, he started saying about allowing the refugees in Rafah, right, to start fleeing north. Yeah, then they had a couple of talks about them allowing the refugees to go to the east. Imagine the level of barbarism when it comes to this, taking refugees from places who already fled the war and who are already refugees in Gaza from Israel and ever since its establishment in 1948. Imagine the level of absurdity, of barbarism when it comes to all of this, when it comes to this genocide. Now they're stating this location. Now they sent leaflets to the refugees in Rafah. They told them this safe zone, and we know exactly what Israel means by safe zones. Every time they said there's a safe zone, they used to kill people. In the beginning of this genocide, there was a truck holding 70 children. They bombed it with an airstrike. Bombed it with an airstrike. The bodies were going everywhere, piled up next to each other. This is how satanic this genocidal death cult is. But when it comes to Rafah, they're telling them go to Al Mawasi. Where is Al Mawasi? Al Mawasi is to the east of Khan Yunis. So mid-east, okay, northwest, towards the coast. It's an area about 3 kilometers, 3% of the whole size of Gaza, 12 square kilometers, houses approximately 9,000 people. They already have refugees there. Israel already destroyed all of the infrastructure. They don't have any access to electricity, no sewage system, no nothing. Okay, and they destroyed the place. They want to send hundreds of thousands of people there, supposedly, to this safe zone. This safe zone that they're talking about, they already attacked it multiple times. It's not that they left it ever. They attacked it multiple times, killing many people. Today, we had 2 massacres where they killed approximately 40 people. One family was from Al-Khattab family, 20, mostly women and children. A residential house they bombed. That's their attack against Hamas. That's what they do. This is what they're good at. Killing innocent civilians, barbarism, starvation. You know, North Gaza is starving. You have people running to get fortified flour, right? And they kill them and they shoot them when they go to get food. And bodies on the floor. Some people continue to work because they want to feed their families in North Gaza. They don't want to leave their homes in the north. They know what Israel's planning, but they're starving. They're starving. People are dying of hunger. This is the situation in Gaza. Children are queuing for a plate, for a bowl of food when we're living in the age of abundance, right? Where everything's available, readily available. People pick their meals and get picky over what they eat. Children are waiting. They're dying from hunger to eat a bowl of food. And I'm posting some of these images on my community tab as well for any of you who are interested. Going back to Rafah, why is the change of tone? So previously you were so arrogant with Egypt and with all of the international community. We don't care, we're going to go in, despite the fact that you had problems with your IDF chief. He told him, you know, we needed to make political moves before we take military action, and we're potentially not exactly ready when it comes to the military. You've heard about the Giv'ati brigade, one of the biggest Israeli brigades, that didn't want to participate any longer in the war. And they didn't disclose the number of people, just the brigade as a whole. And imagine the number, what the number could be. And I spoke about it a few days ago. They're saying we're not getting any breaks, any refresher period, and if we continue, we might be harmful to our colleagues and we might not function properly. Clearly, something's happening in the background. Firstly, the attack on Rafah was meant to finalize it was the last attempt of an ethnic cleansing campaign. Okay, this is what people need to understand. Rafah was meant to be the final ethnic cleansing hope from Israel. They started off with, obviously in the beginning, they failed. The bravery of the Palestinian resistance and the Palestinian people stopped them. The resistance continued striking back, defending themselves, and the Palestinian people refused to flee these areas in the north because they wanted to expel them to the south, and then from the south downwards. Now that they see that the people of the north are not going anywhere, 600,000 or so of which, but you still have a big number down in Rafah in the south, this is the last hope. Egypt already blocked this move by preparing from the Egyptian side. They clearly sent the messages behind closed doors that many people didn't hear about, because clearly Egypt is the main country when it comes to this. And people need to remember, like Egyptian officials, one of them is the General Samir Faraj, he's called. He just had an interview not long ago saying Israel is still the strategic enemy. We have a peace treaty with them, but there is a strategic enemy, and we didn't normalize in terms of economic relations or what have you with them. They're still having this high tone against Israel, and they clearly prepared for a unilateral action from Israel, especially after Israel started escalating to unprecedented levels when it comes to Egypt. You had the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, saying that Egypt bears considerable responsibility for 7th of October attacks. Imagine that. An attack that was carried out by Hamas and the Palestinian resistance, fighting Israeli aggression for over 75 years, the Palestinian people. In terms of Hamas, obviously their biggest operation against Israel. As a matter of fact, the biggest operation against Israel in history, and Egypt was involved in it, according to him. So these statements weren't helping, really. And the delay at the moment when it comes to Rafah, because they're still not giving a timeline, right? The last thing we heard is that this war could take potentially this round 6 to 9 weeks. We had a couple of statements from multiple Israeli newspapers. But when it comes to Rafah, they're not giving us a date. But hold on a second. If you're telling me the war is going to last this phase, 6 to 9 weeks, what do you think? You're going to go to Rafah and you're going to be met with flowers by the resistance? They're going to embarrass you like they embarrassed you in the other parts. Plus, Khan Yunis, you've been there for over 3 months now. You couldn't take Hamas down. You admitted that they still have activity in Khan Yunis. The civil services with Hamas are still there. So what are you expecting in Rafah? As a matter of fact, Rafah could be the worst place for Israeli IOF in Gaza. So they're not giving confirmation. Clearly, there are threats happening behind closed doors. And the people, not all of them, are giving in to all of these reports, and we're probably going to see a repetition of what happened in the northern part of Gaza. Some of them may go, some of them may not, because the alternatives that Israel is giving them are worse than the others. No one believes Israel, and they could always be planning something worse than before. This is the main thing that I want to talk to you about in this video. I hope I added some beneficial information for you. If you're interested, join me in my live stream. I'll be talking about the US veto for the ceasefire and about recent attacks from Al-Qassam brigades in Gaza, alongside a few other developments. So join me in my live stream. I do them on a regular basis, and I will hopefully see you soon in the next video. Take care.